This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone. So we will be starting with another topic for AWS today. Let's start with the agenda. So the agenda is overview of IAM service, root account versus IAM user, MFA, multi-factor authentication, IAM users, IAM roles, AWS managed policies, creating customer managed policies, and IAM groups. So as the name indicates, IAM stand for identity and access management. So yesterday we talked about how to create a trial account, and whoever creates the account, right, he or she is the owner, is the root owner of the account. But apart from the root user, we can have many more users, right? Just like we have developers, we have testers, we have admins, right? And we definitely cannot give full rights to each and everyone. Access should always be given based upon the minimum requirement for that particular role. If a developer, right, they don't need to do the administrative task, so only the developer type of permission should be granted to a developer. But on the admin side, they may have other requirements, like they want to control the access, they want to control who can read from S3 bucket, who can write into S3 bucket. So those type of access should be given to them. At the same time, the admin may not be able to, suppose, delete the entire account, right? We cannot give that permission to him. But if I talk about the root user has full access. Root user can even delete the AWS account completely. So different type of roles, different type of access, different type of permissions, different type of groups, all these things are in place. So I have taken few screenshots just for your reference. Otherwise, I will show you that thing in live as well. The very first thing is multi-factor authentication. Yesterday, we talked about that when you are creating your AWS trial account, you have to provide your credit card information. That's a mandatory step. And one more thing I forgot to tell you yesterday, when you initially create your AWS account, it is not ready for use immediately, because usually AWS takes around 24 hours to verify your payment information. That means if you will do that step today, most probably by tomorrow, your account should be ready. They will send you an email that your AWS account is verified and it's ready now, you can use it. Now the challenge is, as we discussed yesterday, that there are different services and there is a free usage available for almost every service, but with a limitation, right? That the smaller configuration server you can use for free, but if you're going with a higher one, definitely that would be chargeable. Since your credit card is linked with that, it's very, very important to protect your account, because if someone able to hack your account, because if it is just a username and password, and if someone hacks your account, they can launch some server on in your account, and they can use those server for their own purpose, and you will be unnecessarily charged for that. It is as important as securing your net banking. Whenever you are making any transaction, right, along with username and password, we need some OTP, we need a third, one more factor authentication, right? Same here. It's very important thing actually. We should do that, because there are hackers available across the globe. They are very smart to hack anyone's account, and they will launch some web application on your server, you will not even know, and within few days or within few hours, right, your credit card will be charged on that. So let's do it. I will do on, because for our training program I created a trial account 2-3 days back only. So in this account, this MFA is not yet enabled. We'll do it right away, so that you guys can get a feel like how to do it, and this is very important step. So let me open my AWS console. Okay, so since my account is already activated, I have logged in using my email ID and the password. One thing is, first of all, let's go to the home, so that you know from where we have come to this page. So we'll go to home. This one is my you can say main dashboard of my AWS console. You simply go to the search bar and type IAM. The first one is this one, manage access to AWS resources. So we'll click on this. And the very first thing you can notice here is it's displayed in very like highlighted stuff that add MFA for root user. It's in mandatory for root user actually. For developers and other user, right? It's okay, because in order to do something wrong with your account, someone wants to delete your account or unnecessarily launching some servers and all, right? So root users should be protected with MFA, multi-factor authentication. So you can see that add MFA. We'll click on that. Now there are many ways to provide the multi-factor authentication. There can be one way of like password, this one OTP based one, but nowadays instead of OTP based, right, there are many applications available, Android based and iPhone based application available. You can just install them and it's good, we'll do it. So you can see this one, use MFA to increase the security of your AWS environment. Signing into MFA protected accounts requires a username, password and authentication code from an MFA device. Username and password is definitely required to log in into your account. At the same time, one more thing, maybe you can say OTP or a secure code would be required for it. So we'll be clicking on activate MFA. There are many things you can see now. You can use virtual MFA device. That would be the best option because you don't have to buy anything. Otherwise, there are some hardware, hardware devices as well, which displays some code and that code changes every 30 seconds or every 1 minute. In last, if I talk about 3-4 years back, in our office, I was working for American Express and we were using such devices. But for this purpose, right, you can just install some app on your phone and that should be good. So we'll be clicking on continue. So install a compatible app on your mobile device or computer. See a list of compatible application. Let's click on that. Okay, these are different comparison, hardware key based. So we don't need the hardware one. We will go with virtual one. You can see here. If you have Android phone, you can use with Authy, Duo Mobile, LastPass Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator. Out of these, right, I have used Duo Mobile, Microsoft Authenticator, and Google Authenticator. These three I have used. So you can install any. Maybe we can go with Google one. That should be good. So I have already installed Google Authenticator on my phone. Let me quickly check. Google. In the meantime, you guys can also install Google Authenticator. So it's already installed on my system. Let me come back to that code. There was some code, right? This one. So once the application is installed on your device, you can go to that device and there's option to scan the QR code, right? So let's click on this one, show the QR code. I will scan in my phone. Yeah, it's done. Okay, so I have scanned this one, and after scanning, my phone is showing something like some code. Which one is there? Just give me a moment. Let me scan the QR code again. Okay, so after scanning the QR code, it will ask two codes. Right now, one code is displayed on my phone. I will put that 399812, and it will change after I think 30 seconds. So I will put second one as well, and then we will complete this step. 425049. Okay, that's good. So you have successfully assigned virtual MFA, and every time you will log in, right, this would ask the code, but that's fine. You can take it from your phone and you can put it there. Okay, that's good. Sorry. So we are done with the multi-factor authentication. Anyone is having any doubt till this one, you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll be moving to the next ones, like we have users, groups, policies, and all. Okay, seems like there is no doubt. Let's move to the next one. The next is users. So the root account, right? The root user created the AWS account, but after that, depending upon your team members, depending upon your need, you have to create more users so that they can also log in into your AWS account and they can do all the development activity or other type of admin activities. So click on group users, and you can see that there is no user as of now because this is a new account. We can click on add user. Then it will ask for a few details like username. It's completely up to you. You can provide some name. Maybe I would say developer underscore one or whatever name you want to give, right? Then come down, select AWS access type. So there are two type of access. One is programmatic access. Suppose you are planning to read the data from like S3. So for that one, you would need two things: access key ID, you can see here, and secret access key. These two things you would be required. These are only for programmatic access. If you simply want to log in into AWS console, then your password is sufficient. So as of now, we will not go with this access key programmatic one because that's not required as of now. We'll be going with this one password. Now, if you will come down, you will see that auto-generated password or custom password. It's completely up to you. If you want to give some a password of your choice, you can go with custom one. Otherwise, it's okay. Auto-generated is also fine. And you can see this one option, require password reset. Usually whenever we create a new account on any website or any application, right, they generate some random password which is very difficult to remember, but they at the same time they gives you the flexibility that the very first time you will log in with that random password, it will ask you to change your password. That's also a good idea, so that the developers or the users can choose the password of their own choice. You don't have to select the password for them. So these are very basic options. You can select this and then let's click on next. So you can see now, like do you want to add this user to a group? As of now, we haven't created any particular group, but in case you have already, suppose you have a developers group, right, and you can keep on adding multiple users to that. You can do that. The benefit is, in that case, you can manage the permission on a group level itself. Suppose today your developers are only able to read the data from S3, only read, they cannot write. But tomorrow the requirement is that, okay, they need to write as well because they are processing the data and they want to write the output data back into S3. So you need to add the permission, but you don't need to add the permission to all the developers individually. You can rather add that permission at a group level, which will be applicable to each and every member of that particular group. So we can create, if we want, we can maybe let's try that. Create group. So I would say developers. So we'll do. One more thing is, when you are creating a user or creating a group, you have to assign some permission, like what that group members can do or what that specific user can do. So there are policies are there. You can see that there are few policies displayed here. So there are two type of policies. One is like AWS defined policies for mainly for like all the, I would say, common uses, right? Suppose S3 read. Let's search actually. Type S3 read. You see this one, right? Amazon S3 read only access, and you can see the description as well. Provides read only access to all buckets via the AWS console. So this policy is already available. If you want to customize it, that's a custom requirement. How to customize it, I will show you that as well. If you want full access of S3, let's search for something S3 full. You see this one. Amazon S3 full access. So let's select this one. We will select this. So this particular policy will be linked with this group. That means every member of this group will be having this permission. Okay, so let's click on create group. Okay, so now we added a group to this one, which was definitely optional. You can even create a user without group as well, but we added to the group. And now the next one is, let's move to the next one. Next one is tags. As we discussed yesterday, tags are always optional. Tags are not the technical stuff. It is just for some identification. So you can skip it. It's okay. Let's go to the next one. Next one is review. Just let's have a quickly check. Username is developer1. Access type is with the password, right? The programmatic access we did not enable. Password auto generated. Require password, yes. Permission boundary is not set. What is permission boundary? Permission boundary is basically what a user can do at the maximum level. What I will explain. Okay, so you have assigned some permission, like I told, like he can do S3 full access, he can read, he can, or write, he can do, right? At the same time, as a admin, as a root user, you can define some boundaries so that if tomorrow someone is changing the permission of that particular user, they cannot go beyond a particular limit. Maybe suppose you want to explicitly deny that the user should not be allowed to delete something, delete a S3 bucket, delete the server, delete the account. So that can also be set, but that's not a very common uses. These boundaries and all are usually for very root level or maybe for admin level. For developer, it's okay. We added some permissions, right? So let's come down. Permission summary. Group is this one, and managed policy. I was talking about AWS managed one, right? So managed policy means it is predefined and it is provided by AWS. So this one will be IAM user change password, because you are giving them the permission that the first time they will log in, they should be able to change their password. That's one of the permission assigned to them. And whatever is the permission we assigned to the developers group, that will also be applicable. So that we are good. Let's click on create user. Okay, that's good. So user is created, and this is not a day-to-day activity. I mean, creating a track, creating an account, adding the MFA, and creating the users. Definitely, these are like one-time activity. So to be frank, we haven't started the technical stuff on AWS as of now. We are talking about introduction to AWS and creating a trial account. Today, we are talking about creating the user, multi-factor authentication, and all that. So the first week will go like all these things, and definitely all these things are important. Without that, we cannot proceed. Okay. So this is the password, maybe auto-generated one, right? If you want to see, you can click here. You can see now some auto-generated password is there. So you can either share this password and the username with your team member directly, maybe, or otherwise there's an option to send email. So you can click on there, and the details will be sent to the your team member that this is your username, this is your password, and the very first time you will log in, you have to change your password and all those things. You can see here, users with AWS Management Console access can sign in at this link. This is the specific link for your AWS account. So maybe you can share this as well, so that they can easily log in into your AWS account. I would like to stop here for 2 minutes. Anyone is having any doubt till this point, you can ask me. Saran, you have any doubt, because this is your first class?
No, I'm good.
Okay, that's great. Okay, let's move to the next one. The next one is role. What exactly is role? And you may be thinking how the role is different from the user. A user may be playing a role, just like user is playing a developer role. And not only user, even your servers. Suppose you are performing something from EC2 server. You are executing a Python script from a server, and that script is trying to read or write the data from S3. I'm giving the example of S3, but you can do anything. You can read the data from S3, process it on Athena, and then you can suppose write your data into Redshift. That's also possible. So whatever activities you are performing on that server, what type of permission it is using, is it not? It is not using your permission because you are logged in into that server. A server is attached with one IAM. So that's what I was explaining, that role is not only for users, it's also for every service in AWS. If we are creating a Lambda function, what that Lambda function can do, you have to define an IAM role for that. And while creating the Lambda function or while creating the EC2 server, you have the flexibility to link that specific IAM role. If you remember yesterday, we created the EC2 instance. I mean, we created the Cloud9 environment, but behind the scene, an EC2 instance was created. Let's quickly open it. I will show you that there is an IAM role linked with that. So what we will do is we'll go to EC2. When did we create this one? Maybe long back. Just give me a moment. I will quickly check. Launch time March 8, 2013. Okay. Anyway, we can just ignore those first two. So this one we created yesterday, right? So let's click on that and then we will check the IAM role, because today we are talking about IAM. Right? So the current state is stopped because if you will keep on running, that's not good. So let's go to security. You can see that IAM role. There is no IAM role with this EC2 instance because this is internally created by AWS. But if you will create a new IAM role here, sorry, not IAM role. If you will create an EC2 instance, it will ask you to assign an IAM role. So let's create an IAM role today, and maybe another class when we will talk about EC2 instance, like how to create an EC2 instance, right? That time we will use that IAM role. So let's come back to our IAM page. Okay. So these are few roles available which are created by the system itself. You can see this one, AWS service role for AWS Cloud9, and AWS service role for support, AWS service role for trusted advisor. These are like internally used by AWS, so you don't need to worry about it. We can create our own role. Okay. So when you're creating a role, there are different type of options available. The very first is AWS service. That means you want to create an IAM role for any AWS service, just like I was telling, EC2 or Lambda or Redshift or DynamoDB, Athena, or can be anything. Or you can see that AWS account allows entities in other AWS account belonging to you or a third party to perform action in this account. Sometimes you may need cross account access. Suppose you are running some Python job in your dev account. Yesterday we talked about multiple accounts, right? So you are running some Python code in your dev accounts, but after processing the data, the data you want to store into stage account. It's a cross account access. So depending upon our requirement, we need to choose one of this. Usually the first one is required, so we will select that. Come down, use case. So you want to use EC2, you want to use Lambda, or not only these two, there are many more. You can search from here. You can see that API gateway is there, AWS backup is there, and what else? Budget, certificate manager, cloud formation, cloud trail, cloud watch, code build, code deploy, code group, config, connect, DMS, data pipeline. There are many, right? So let's start with EC2 because that we would need in upcoming classes. You can see this one, allow EC2 instance to call AWS services on your behalf. You will be executing the Python script, but it will be using the IAM role associated with that server. Same applicable to Lambda. You will be running the Lambda, but whatever IAM role is associated with Lambda, it will be using permissions from that role. So let's create for EC2. We'll go to next. And then, as I told you, right, you can either go with some inbuilt policy or you can create your own policy. So inbuilt policy, I have already shown you, right, that for S3 read, S3 write, there are many policies available for everything actually, not only S3. If you search for Redshift, you will find, you see this one, Amazon DMS Redshift S3 rule. So this role will help you to read and write the data from S3, and you can, read and write into Redshift. It would be like that one. If you just want Redshift read-only access, suppose you are designing some web application where you need to just fetch the data from Redshift. You don't want to update there, so you can go with read-only access. Redshift query editor. Similarly, Redshift full access, read, write everything, and many more. So there are many policies available. You can see that 744. That means whatever you can think of, whatever is your requirement, you can find one inbuilt policy in AWS, but still at the same time, you want to customize it. You can do that. Let's try that. Create policy. So we will create policy and you have to select the service, like what type of policy you need. Let's try with, I would say S3. Okay, click on that. Now it will ask you the action because there are many actions actually, and you want to customize it. So if you will select all S3 action, then it would be same as like S3 full access, which is already available. You don't need to customize in that case. But here our purpose is to customize. So there is a access level list. If you want to see what are there in the list, you can expand it. You see that there are many. List access point, list bucket multi-part upload, list bucket version, list jobs, and many more. Whatever permission you will allow, only that will be associated with the user. So list we can give full because that is like just a read only, like not changing anything, right? There is a read also. Read also I think we can give full. And tagging, you can expand it. You can see that delete job tagging, put bucket tagging. There are many things, but let's leave it. There is a write also, right? Write, you can see what exactly you want to do. There is a thing like put object. Put object means putting any data into the bucket. Let's try that. Where is that? Put bucket website. Put bucket object. Put object retention. Put object is there. This one. So let's selecting this one. So this will help you to put some data into there and create bucket. Do you want to allow this particular role? Suppose you are you don't have even the bucket is available, right? So do you want that your Python script or whatever server you are using, it should be capable of creating the bucket? Usually we don't do that because creating a bucket is usually managed by admin or someone, but the individual developer or individual server, they should be able to read and write the data into that bucket. But again, it's if you're customizing it, it's completely up to our requirement. If you want to give that permission, we can do that as well. So let's go with only put bucket as of put object as of now. When we will do something practically, it will definitely fail that this permission is missing, that permission is missing. At that point of time, we'll come back to this role and we will again enhance it. Okay, so we just choose only one, and now you can click on next. Just give me a moment. So we'll click on next. Tags, as we discussed, like tags are not actually required, but if you want to add, maybe I will just add. Just give me a moment. What happened? Why it's not going to the tags? The policy contains an error. What is that error? Where is that?
These are warnings. I don't see any error. You are required to choose a resource. Okay.
Okay, so basically we define like what type of actions you can do, but on which bucket you can do, that is known as resources. So there are two ways. Either you give to all resources, which is definitely not recommended. You see this one as a best practice, define permission for only specific resources in specific accounts. Alternately, you can grant least privilege using conditions key. So as of now, if you want to go to specific one, right, then you have to create some bucket, which we do not have as of now, right? So let's go with all resources and we should be able to proceed as of now. So tags are always optional. If you want to add, you can do that. Suppose this particular role will be used for some particular team, right? So you can give like team name.
Excuse me, Neeraj, I'm still in that where do we find the resources one?
Okay, let's wait. Maybe some delay in screen sharing. Let me know once you guys can see the tags.
No, we can see the tags. I'm saying like how you resolve the error. I'm not able to find the resources. Where is the resources?
Are you doing it right now?
Yes.
Okay, so I would prefer, I would recommend that you do not do the things practically along with the class, because in that case you won't be able to concentrate much on that. But I can explain that. I will go back to previous one. If you will just come down, just scroll down, and you will find the resources there.
Okay.
Okay, so click on next, and we'll be adding any tag. It's up to you. It's not required. And click on review. So it will display like first of all give some policy name, because we are customizing it, right? So we will use it for EC2. We will give like EC2 hyphen S3. Not S3 is not required, because tomorrow we may be adding more permission. We will simply give EC2 instance role. That's all. Okay. So we will give this one, and description is IAM role for EC2 instance. Description is optional, but you should always provide, because when you have multiple server, multiple roles, you don't know why did I create this role, what was the purpose at all. So it's always a good idea to provide some meaningful description that would help you to refer later. This is the summary, because we selected some customized some policy for S3. We provided like full access we give for list and read, and we give limited access for write. And as of now we have given for all resources, and later we can change it. It's not like that you can't change it. You can change the resource list or this permission list at any point of time. And we added one tag as well, and that's all. Create policy. So we can even attach multiple policies with the same role. You can do that as well, because suppose you created one policy for S3 and you created another policy for Redshift, but you want to assign both the policies to your IAM role. You can do that as well. So this is our IAM role, you can see here, and you can see this one. So basically when we create policy on console, right, behind the scene it converts into JSON. You can see this one. What are the actions which are allowed? S3 colon list access point for object lambda. Related to listing, then related to get, and then you will find something about put also. We put that, right? Put object. Where is that? I cannot see put. Put is there. Put object. We put that, right? So this is the policy, and this is the IAM role created for it. You can see this one. The type of this IAM role is customer managed, because we have created that role by ourselves. So this is how to create an IAM role, and along with that we talked about how to associate a AWS managed policy, or you can even create your own policy and you can associate with that. So that's all about roles. If you want to add more policy to the same role, you can even do that. So if you will click on that role, you can see that there is a ARN. What is ARN? ARN is, I think, AWS resource name. Some full form is there, I don't remember, but basically it is giving you the full it contains your account number and complete path of that basically, and this would be required at many places. And ARN is not only for IAM role. For each and every resource you are creating in AWS, everything has an ARN. So your ARN is, you can say, like, it's a full-fledged complete name, you can say, think like that. So you can see this, these are the permissions. If you want to see policy and all, you can see that policy uses, because we haven't used till now this one, right? Once you will start using it, then it will appear. So this is the policy which we added here. Okay, that's all. So we talked about users, we talked about roles, we talked about policies, and we also talked about user groups. Let's go there. So this is the user which we created, right? You can see that even the groups has an ARN, this one, and there is a small icon. It will help you to quickly copy. Suppose you would need it, and I will show you in upcoming classes, this would required at many places. So instead of like manually going like this one, you can simply click on this copy icon and it will be copied. It is very handy to use. So these are the main things: users, user groups, users, roles, and policies. Other things are not required. So with this one, we are done with today's class. So in case you are having any doubt on anything, you can ask me.
Neeraj, just to make sure that
Mhm.
the user group is basically for like different departments, and in each department there can be multiple users,
Yes.
and those users can have multiple roles.
Yeah.
And
So the
what are the
benefit of
policies?
groups is,
Yes.
the benefit of group is that you can control the access in a very convenient way. It's like a WhatsApp group, right? If you have to send the same message to 10 of your different friends, it would be unnecessarily taking time for you. But if you can directly send to the group, every member of that group will receive that message. So if you want to add any permission, if you want to remove any permission, instead of doing that at a user level, if you can do that as a group level, it will be applicable to all the members of that. That's the benefit. And you can, right now we have only one user in this one, right? Developer one. But tomorrow, if you want to add more users, you can add to the same group. And in that case, we can manage the permissions at a group level itself. You can see this one. The permission we are maintaining at group level. This one we added, right, S3 full access. So tomorrow, if you will add one more user, the same permission S3 full access will be applicable to another developer as well. And again, like, it's completely optional. If you want to don't want to create groups, you want to create different users and you want to manage their permissions individually, we can even do that.
What
Does
are
that
the
answer your question?
policies for?
Policies, okay, policies are like, how would I define it? Like, there are different services in AWS, so you can create one policy for one thing. Suppose for your server, suppose it will be reading data from S3. So you create one policy with the permission like reading the data from S3. At the same time, it will be writing the data into Redshift. So you can create one more policy with the permission, write permission into Redshift. So now your role has two policies. Let me show you. So we created one role and we added one policy to there, right? Where is that role? Okay. We created one role, right? Where is that gone? Okay, I think we didn't create the role, we create only policy. Okay.
So this one was the policy name. Actually, we have given the let me modify if we can do that. This is a policy, not role. Policy ARN. I think it won't allow us to. That's not good. Let me delete it. I will quickly create. We'll delete this. We'll create policy, and let's quickly go. We'll choose a service S3. We can give some access, list, read, and in the right we had given limited one put object. Okay, resources we can give all as of now. All resources and click on next. Tags are not required. Review. We'll give some name. S3 access policy. Let's give some meaningful name. By mistake, I give the role name actually. So S3 access policy, and this one you can see that policy to read and write the data from S3. Okay. That's all. We'll create. Invalid policy description can contain this. Okay. So along with the AWS managed policies, we have created our own policy. You can see now all the AWS managed, there will be this AWS icon in the beginning to identify that they are AWS managed and this one is customer managed. You can see this one. Now, since we have created a policy, now we can create an IAM role and we can link this policy with an IAM role. Let's quickly do that. We'll go to roles and we'll create one role. This one we'll create for EC2. That's next. Policy we can select this one because we created this one for our custom use. And then we'll click on next. Role name EC2 instance role. Okay, that's all. And add permission we have already added. If you want to add more policies, you can do that. Or you can suppose along with this one, you want to, let's do that. Click on edit. So we will add one AWS managed. I will search for Redshift. Okay, Redshift full access. Let's give this one. So now two policies are associated with the same IAM role. So now you can come down and you can see two policies are there. One is AWS managed and another one is customer managed. Tags are again optional. You can create role. Okay, so this role is created. So basically today we have created one user group, one policy and one role. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, Neeraj.
Okay, that's good. Any other question from anyone else? Just now I have received your Gmail IDs from the training institutes. So I will be adding all of you to one of my Google Drive folder so that I don't have to send email every day. Every day you can just check that folder and you can find the PDF there. At the same time, I will share the link for recording. Maybe I will share the link for my, don't need to send the link every day. I will send a channel name and there every day I will keep on uploading the videos and you can watch it from there. It would be quite, convenient for you. Don't have to check mail every day. Okay, so any question from anyone? Otherwise, we are good for the day. Okay then guys, let's meet tomorrow, same time, same meeting link, and the PDF and the recording you should receive in your Gmail in some time. Maybe because after the meeting is over, it takes some time to process the recording, then I will upload into the YouTube. So maybe in next 1 or 2 hours, you should receive all the things on your Gmail. Okay, thank you. See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.